It's just like a deep, deep rabbit hole that we are still falling in. That we are using their t-shirts in the boat yard.
We use this all the time.
Oh my gosh, don't be so pessimistic. Our boat's broken. Just kidding, that's really dramatic and also not entirely accurate, but the boat needs some work and the boat needs some love. Did I set the tripod up just for
I want to be in this shot.
Welcome to the boatyard. We got boatyard clothes. Here, are you looking up?
We're boatyarding, and this episode is we are going to be repairing the back of the boat, not the rudder. The rudder is drying, so we'll work on that later. But we have a small project that we need to do, and we think we have material left over from a previous project.
First step, experiment time. We will reconvene after we give this a go and see if it works. Enjoy the video. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. Grab your grinders.
Subscribe.
Put on your safety glasses. It's gonna be a dusty one, I think. That is gonna set up overnight. I've kind of filled it in. Tomorrow, once it's set up the rest of the way, we can sand it down and have a look and kind of see where we're at that point. But in the meantime, we are going to wait and thank the sponsor of this episode, which is AG1. AG1 is empowering people to take ownership of their health. It's made up of 75 high-quality, whole food sourced ingredients, including vitamins, minerals, superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens, carefully curated to nourish all the body's systems holistically. AG1 provides nutrients that support sustained physical and mental energy. It's just 8 ounces of water and 1 scoop of AG1, which makes for an effortless daily habit. Super simple and easy to add into any morning or evening routine. I've been drinking AG1 for about a year now. I went looking for something like AG1 because I wanted to get all of the vitamins and minerals that I was needing, and I was hard pressed to find anything comparable on the market. Go to athleticgreens.com/ExpeditionEvans to get started on your first order, and AG1 is going to be giving a free 1-year supply of D3 plus K2, super important fat soluble vitamin, and also 5 free travel packs with your first order. Go check it out. Thank you again, AG1, for sponsoring this episode and making it where we can get back to work on all the boat projects. Cheers. I am beyond pleased with how this turned out. It does need a little bit more to be filled in because it was so deep, but as far as the color goes, turned out amazing, and it was pretty easy to do. Today we do the rest. We're gonna do all of them. I think we're gonna do all of them. So I'm about to move this ladder and then move the scaffolding over. Yeah. I set up the scaffolding, so next up is to start dremeling down all of the hard edges on the chips, because anywhere that there's a hard edge or like an unsanded surface, after the gel coat cures, it would just flake off because it has no way to grip. So I'm just gonna go Dremel it smooth, kind of taper it out and give it some tooth. That way it can cure and be, you know, not just flaking off later. I don't know why I'm surprised, but I am a little surprised to find that the reason why there are chips is because there are voids in the fiberglass underneath the gel coat. So this is actually from factory. Right now this is fine. It was just barely starting to crack, but before long all of this fiberglass is just gonna chip out because it's too dry. There's not enough resin there. And then you get this once it finally chips off, and it turns into a big chip in the back of the boat. So as I've been going through, we've been kind of finding a lot of voids that have been filled, and
I'm sure there's some damage from dock rash and other stuff, but there's a lot of voids.
So see how kind of rough it is. This was not all the way done because I want to show you guys the void, but the Dremel kind of just takes off really roughly. So what I'm doing right now is that Brett and I have both got the sandpaper, and we're going through and smoothing out these tapers a little bit nicer. That way it'll just make it easier when we put on this new gel coat for it to adhere properly. There's a lot more spots than I realized. As soon as I dremeled out all the big chips, I realized that there's all this cracking, and as soon as the chips aren't there, the crackings are gonna look really bad, and it's just like a deep, deep rabbit hole that we're still falling in. I think we'll get it all though. It's actually going very fast.
Honestly, this is probably why people repaint their boat. They go through and they grind out all these, fill them all with bearing compound, and they're just like,
paint it.
And they're just like, screw it, just paint the whole thing.
But fortunately for us, we've got a really good match for the gel coat.
Yeah, we do.
So, all good.
I was just telling Jade that we have gotten our money's worth out of this Dremel. We bought this because we wanted to be able to trim the dog's nails easier, so without having like a big cord. And we've had this now for 2 years, and
We use it all the time.
we use this all the time. Yeah, it's like a no-name Amazon.
We'll find it in our purchases.
Yeah, we'll
and
link
it.
that because this is a good one.
I think I might have the award for the biggest void. I don't know, how does this compare to yours up top?
This is the largest this area, but not the deepest. Like this one's definitely deeper.
It's definitely not the first cut.
No, that one's the deepest. I think like mentally, emotionally, I was planning on like 5 chips, maybe 6, and now there's like 5 or 6 per square foot.
Looks good though.
That was terrible.
Yes. Thank you. Here's a little shade spot for the camera because it keeps overheating. So you guys live right here unless the camera's rolling.
We just sand the bottom paint off right there so we can kind of taper the gel coat down. We just decided that we want to try and be able to sand before the sun goes down tonight. It's the afternoon already. I think it's like 1:30, maybe 2 o'clock.
Right now Brett is on-offing. He's using on-off, and that's basically bleaching all of the staining off of the gel coat because the new gel coat's pretty white.
It's very
It's very white, and it matches as long as we don't have any stains. So he's getting all the stains off right now. That way it'll be a better finish. And also, you know,
It looks good.
yeah.
Also, we have hired Nanawana, the marina we're at, to come and buff and polish the boat.
We never hire things out, so this is kind of a big deal for us.
Yeah, we're excited.
And nervous.
We are trying to get this done today so that when they buff the whole boat, they can buff all of this. That way, it'll help blend a little bit because when you buff it, you kind of actually smear a little bit of gel coat, so they'll actually blend it a little bit when they do it, because they'll do a rubbing compound on the whole thing, you know, knock it down and then buff and wax. So hopefully, if we can get all this done, they will improve our finish even more.
Definitely, yeah. We are using leftover gel coat from when we gel coated one of the bilge pockets a year ago. And so this is leftover gel coat from Total Boat.
And it is like the perfect color match. It probably was like the exact color match 15 years ago when this was new.
I don't know, I think it's pretty perfect.
It's as long as it's completely clean and not stained at all, it's perfect now. Shout out to Sailing Yaba at the Beneteau show.
We traded t-shirts. Now for the magic chemistry part. Wow, that was not very smooth. Okay, that's like about 14.
About?
And now we stir them all up. Try to stick something. Well, gel coat dust probably won't do it any harm though. What we just put in, the MEKP, is what will have the reaction start. And without that, it wasn't ever going to cure. So now it will harden. Whereas before, it would just stay a liquid forever.
I feel like maybe I should use a brush.
The tutorial I watched, the guy said he preferred the sticks.
Alright.
First impressions?
It's actually thicker than I thought, so it definitely does want to run, but I think this will be alright.
The instructions on the bottle say we have about 10 to 15 minutes of working time depending on the temperature, and since it's incredibly hot, I think it's going to be more on the 10-minute mark. So I'm going to set up a time lapse and get to work because we have to patch all of these holes in the next 10 minutes. Otherwise, we're out of time. Climbing up just now, but having to coordinate and not hit the gel coat. It's been a while since we've gone rock climbing. Probably just gets worse as we get older, huh?
Laundry. A couple things I don't think we've talked about at all. This portable air conditioner, which is a lifesaver. Especially on days like this, like it's so hot.
I don't think you guys, it's just so hot that our camera overheated and wouldn't film without us even filming. It didn't like overwork itself. All it did was exist. It's like walked outside and said, "No, I'm done for the day."
Pretty much.
That's what the camera said.
While we were out working, we made roast. Or we had the Instant Pot make roast, I guess.
I added water and I shouldn't have.
Now we have a soup.
Rookie mistake. Yeah. We're eating more meat than we, I think, like ever have in the last, at least in the last like 5 years. We really don't eat very much meat. But there aren't as many gluten-free options in the grocery stores here. So we've started having a little bit more meat in our life, like a pot roast, which reminds me of my childhood so much. I feel like my mom's pot roasts were always my favorite. And I did not deliver, Mom, and I'm sorry. Brett just moved my hat. It was sitting right here. And it's dusty. So that's gonna go. Put it right there. Do you feel like you worked hard enough to have earned like a hearty meal? Definitely a drink of water.
Yeah, I don't know about a meal, but definitely half a gallon of water.
The gel coat needs about another hour before it's cured fully. And once it has that final cure, then we can get all the wax off and do the next coat. So in the meantime, we wait.
We didn't film it, but we just knocked everything down with the sander real quick. Oh, you filmed on the GoPro? Okay, apparently we did film a little bit. The sun's going down. We didn't meet our goal. We are going to put on another layer of gel coat where it needs it, which is most places actually. There's a tiny little bit more, and then there are some places like on the very bottom corner that I sanded a little bit too much because the gel coat is like paper thin right there.
The gel coat, when it cured, basically looked like we put toothpaste all over the boat.
Basically.
It was hard though. But I think the color blends really well. I think it already looks better than it looked before.
Agreed.
So yeah, we're just gonna put the last coat on. The sun's setting, so at least one more coat, and then we'll have to sand that one in the morning or in the dark. But the working hours at the Shard are very small. People live.
When we wake up at like 10.
Well, because so many people go to bed early.
Yeah.
So we don't want to work late until the night.
Bunch of cruisers.
Bunch of cruisers. Yeah. Isn't Sailor's Midnight like 7 p.m.? I want to show you because I am really happy about this. So the only part that has had like the 2 layers, so it's completely finished, is that first test chip that we did, right? We put on the extra little bit for the divot, and then I just sanded it because I wanted to see how it would look. So this is the one. This is not the one. The chip that I'm talking about is this. What chip, Jade? What chip are you talking about? Exactly. You can't tell at all. You can't even tell. I can't even tell right now. Looking at it with my own eyes in real life at approximately 4 inches. On that side. I can't even see where my patch is, because the color blends that perfectly. And I did it with a finer sandpaper, and it looks so good, and it's got me really excited for the rest of this. Let's do it.
Here are the little spots I was talking about on this like very bottom corner. It's just so thin that like any amount of sanding just...
It didn't used to be so thin. I think we need to build it up a little more.
You think? You should add more for good measure?
Well, so it's 14 to 16 drops, depending on the temperature.
Got it.
I decided to add the 15th drop.
Because it's not as hot.
Exactly. Should have put the new tape on, or the old tape back on.
Oh well.
I think I want to like give this a second to...
Like cure a little bit?
Mm-hmm. Just
Maybe
to
do the top ones first.
Okay.
We're both being attacked.
We're both getting attacked.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But we gotta finish it. We're almost there.
What?
There's a bug in it.
No. We'll sand it out. It's okay.
Okay, we're calling it. We're getting eaten by bugs. And
Gigantic ones.
very large mosquitoes.
These are the biggest mosquitoes I have ever seen in my entire life. I know I'm not that old, but these are big mosquitoes.
But you have fed a lot of mosquitoes in your lifetime.
I'm
So-
particularly good at feeding mosquitoes. Can I tell you guys, growing up, they always went for my sisters. They never went for me. Because I have my sisters, the one just older than me and the one just younger than me, they're both very fair, blonde, like white blonde, fair skin. The mosquitoes love them. Then I married Brett, and I'm with him all the time instead of them all the time. And I'm
Wait.
always the one.
Wait, you think you get bit more than me?
Yeah. Oh, I at least get bit more than I used to. Maybe
Okay.
I just don't have the mosquito attractant sisters anymore. So now I get beat my fair share.
I definitely think I get bit more than her.
Oh,
But
he's so cool. I really hope Sailing Yaba isn't upset that we are using their t-shirts in the boatyard. I feel like that's like what
I
they're
feel like that's what their
made
shirts are made
though.
for. Well, their shirts are like tough too. Like
Yeah.
the material is like
Very
it's like
durable.
almost denim.
Yeah. Yeah, if you guys need boatyard t-shirts, we'll link Sailing Yaba's merch. We'll link ours too, because this is our channel. But like,
Yeah.
quoting Brett said, I don't think you really understand how much those chips really bothered me and like how satisfying this is for me, right? And he's right, is that I don't understand. And I never really cared that much about the chips, but Brett, they always really bothered him and he always really wanted to fix them to make the boat look nice. And, you know, so we're talking about it and I realized that the biggest thing is that I have never owned like a nice car, not even a nice car. I've only owned beaters. And I've never really had a vehicle that I like took a lot of pride in, and I've never like owned anything really before that I really cared about how it looked and like, but more than just like the aesthetics of it, just like the pride of ownership and like the pride of making it look really nice, keeping it clean, right? But Brett has, before Brett and I were married, he had like some cars that he really liked and would fix them up from being broken and like soup them up and make them look really pretty, right? So he's kind of had that life experience. But for me, this is my first time having the life experience of owning something and like really having the pride of, how do you describe it? Like what this is, what this means. Like
Yeah,
taking
pride
care of
of
it.
ownership.
Like
Yeah,
taking
yeah.
care of your
That
belongings.
Yeah.
Then there's the other part of it, which is that it's a really cool moment to get to the point where we can care about the chips on the back of the sugar scoop, because those chips have been there since we bought this boat, but they were such a small thing,
They're so insignificant.
so insignificant, and we've gotten to the point now 2 years later that they are of importance enough to actually care about to fix.
There's still plenty of other things that need to get fixed and everything, but there's nothing pressing so hard that we can't take the time to do this. These have reached a point that they can be done, and we're happy to do them. And before we would have had to not do something else.
Well, and who cares about a chip when you got a refiberglass the
Oh,
whole
mosquito
interior?
right in my... Did you guys see the mosquito went in my ear? It's probably in my brain.
We'll have our our boat. I like boat projects.
Yeah.
Well, it's harder when I can't see where it's wet.
Ooh. There's just a little flag move there.
I tapped it.
Oh no.
Dang it. You make that look super easy. It's because your legs go.
Got kind of a cool design going on my face with like the pie. I think it's just my sweat dripping. I'm quite powder coat dusted, but we're getting close. It looks so good. I think one more round. This will be like the third time we've said that, but I really think this is probably the last, maybe the third one, last one, fourth one. What are we on, 3? The third. Yeah, we're close. It looks so good. This all looks good too.
I'm gonna finish it by hand now. Okay, there's just a few low spots left and we are going to fill them in. For example, this was a big chip, we filled it in, and it's still just a little low right there. And there's a lot more like that. That's like 1 of 100. So we're just gonna go fill in all the little low spots left. Yeah?
Yeah, I almost feel like this is a never ending. It's like fill, sand, fill, sand, fill, sand.
It's almost done.
Is it though?
Oh my gosh, don't be so pessimistic. Take a step back and look how much better your boat looks.
No, it already looks way better.
Admire your own hard work, love.
You're very.
I know it's hot. Okay, what?
Said you are very admirable.
For being optimistic.
No, you're my heart. It didn't really make sense. Maybe we should need to fill that all in. I feel like somebody put filler there, but too high. It's almost like there's no room for gel coat.
Yeah.
Jay's mixing up our final batch.
I did a 1/2 ounce each this time, so it's half of what we've been doing because we really don't have very much volume to fill, just a bunch of very small spots.
For me?
For you?
Thank you.
Should we set up time lapse?
We've barely even scratched the surface with this video. We know that gel coat is only skin deep. We have a lot more to come, fixing this rudder, our prop, our chain, our anchor, maybe some other things, I don't know. But stick around, thanks for being here, thank you to our patrons making this possible, and we will see you next time.